The storm screamed across the dead plains of planet Zephyra, throwing dust and acid rain against blackened rocks. Thunder cracked the sky as dark clouds swallowed the last light. In the middle of this storm, a figure stumbled forward, her body broken, bleeding. Kara, once the most feared warrior of the Rinnethi Empire, now dragged one leg behind her, her armor scorched and cracked. Her left side was soaked in blood-thick, purple, and glowing faintly. Her breathing was shallow, her sharp black eyes burned with pain. But her pride still lived. She didn't crawl, she didn't cry, she simply kept walking, teeth clenched, eyes forward till her legs finally gave up. Kara collapsed onto her knees, the mud swallowing her limbs. Her vision blurred. Her chest heaved. Odd. She dug her claws into the ground, refusing to die lying down. Lightning lit up the sky, and then she heard it. Footsteps, not the heavy stomp of a soldier, not the clicking gait of a Rinnethi scout. These were soft, careful, unarmed. She blinked through the rain and saw a shadow, a figure, a human. He wore a torn jacket, soaked in rain. His hands were empty, his hair clung to his head, and his skin was scratched by wind and debris. But his eyes were clear. He crouched beside her without fear. Kara raised one shaking claw. "Touch me and die." But her voice faded. Her strength was gone. The man didn't step back. He leaned in slowly and whispered, "You're hurt. Let me help." Kara's body tensed, but her vision went black before she could speak again. She didn't remember being lifted, but she felt warmth. She didn't remember being carried, but she smelled something unfamiliar, smoke from a fire. Her body, once cold and soaked, now rested on soft fabric. Clean bandages pressed against her ribs. Her weapons were gone. Her claws were clean. When her mind returned, she opened her eyes and saw a low metal ceiling above her, a bunker, crude but dry. She tried to sit up, but pain shot through her side. She hissed. From the corner of the room, a voice spoke gently. "Don't move, you tore deep muscle. 3 inches more and you'd be dead." Kara's eyes darted to the voice, a human. He sat by a small fire in a corner of the bunker. He held a rag and a bottle of medicine. His hands were red from cleaning her blood. Kara growled, "Why didn't you kill me?" The human looked up. "You were bleeding." She narrowed her eyes. "You know what I am?" He nodded. "Rinnethi warrior, teeth like daggers. Kill humans on sight." "Yeah, I've heard the stories then. Why help me?" Shrugged, as if the answer was simple. "Because you needed help." Kara stared, confused. No one had ever shown her mercy, not even her own people. Wounds were marks of weakness. If she had fallen in battle, it would have left her there to die. But this human had carried her bandaged, her risked everything to keep her alive. She turned her head to hide her expression. But the human wasn't watching her anyway. He was busy fixing a cracked pipe near the roof. "What's your name?" she asked without meaning to. He glanced back. "Eli, you." "Kara." He smiled. "Kara. Fierce name." She didn't answer. Her mind was racing. Rinnethi law was clear. Any warrior who is healed from near death by another becomes bonded to them, till the debt is paid. But this human didn't even know that. Or maybe he did, and still didn't care. "Where are we?" she asked. "Crash bunker?" "My ship broke 2 days ago, during the storm." "Yours?" he asked gently. "Shot down." "Ambush?" "I killed 3 before I crashed. Guess that makes us 2 survivors." Kara stared at the bandages on her body. She touched them lightly. They were tight and skillfully placed. "You healed me," she said slowly. Eli nodded. "Yeah, wasn't easy. You have tough skin. Bleeds weird too." She looked away. "You don't owe me anything," he added suddenly. Her eyes widened. "I didn't do it for a reward," he said. "I did it because I couldn't leave someone to die in the rain." Kara felt something strange in her chest. Not pain. Not anger. Warmth. She had never felt it before. She had been trained to kill, not to feel. Her people called humans weak, emotional, soft. But this soft creature, had carried her through death and brought her back. She turned toward him and whispered, "You're a fool." He smiled. "Maybe, but now you're not bleeding." Kara felt her eyelids growing heavy again. She tried to fight sleep, but her body needed it. Her last thought before darkness returned was, "Why does his voice sound like peace?" Kara woke to the smell of smoke, but not the kind she feared. It wasn't the scent of burning cities or plasma scorches. This was softer, like charred wood and something. Edibel, her sharp eyes opened. She was alone in the room. Her weapons were still gone, and her claws felt weak. Then she heard humming, a human voice, calm without fear. Her muscles tensed. She forced herself up, ignoring the pull of her wound, and limped to the entrance of the bunker. There, sitting by a small fire outside under a metal tarp, was the human. He had a pot balanced on 3 stones. Cooking something that steamed gently in the storm-filtered air, he looked up and smiled. When he saw her, "You're walking already?" "That's faster than I expected." Kara didn't smile back. Her eyes scanned the horizon, then returned to him. "You left me alone? Why?" Eli stirred the pot. "'Cause I trust you not to stab me while I'm making soup. Also, I took your claws while you were unconscious. You're not exactly dangerous, right?" Now, her eyes narrowed, but not out of anger. She was unsure. Everything about this man confused her. She limped closer, eyes fixed on the pot. Her stomach, without warning, growled loud and embarrassing. Eli grinned. "That noise again. Thought Rinathi didn't get hungry like us." Kara sat down slowly, her pride cracking just a little. "We do. We just hide it better." He handed her a small bowl. She looked at it, then at him. "It's not poisoned," he said. "I used to cook for my squad during patrols. Never killed anyone. Well, except that one time with undercooked meat, but that guy was always complaining." She tasted it. It was warm. Strange. Too salty. But for some reason, she finished the bowl without a word. When she looked up, Eli was watching her not with fear or judgment, but curiosity. "I read about your kind," he said after a while. "Warrior born. No childhoods, no play. Just training and blood." "Books lie," Kara replied. He tilted his head. "Then what's the truth?" She was quiet for a long time. "In my first memory," she said at last, "I was 6. My arm was broken after training. My instructor told me to fix it myself or never hold. A blade again." Eli said nothing. She continued, voice flat. "So I bit the bone back into place. Then I killed him 2 years later in a duel. That's how I earned my rank." Eli stirred the fire. "Sounds painful." "It was necessary, maybe," he said. "But that doesn't mean it was right." Her jaw tightened. No one had ever said that to her before. Not her leaders, not her peers. Pain was pride. Weakness was death. And yet this soft human with his dumb soup and unguarded camp had survived a crash, a storm, and her. Maybe softness wasn't weakness after all. "You risked your life to help me," she said. He shrugged. "You'd have done the same." She replied without hesitation. "To leave the wounded behind." Eli met her eyes. "Then maybe it's time you unlearn that." They sat in silence for a while. The wind howled outside the tarp, but neither of them moved. The rain had calmed, but not the questions inside Kara's mind. She broke the silence. "Do you know what happens when a Rinathi female is healed from? Mortal wounds?" Eli looked curious. "Some kind of ritual?" She shook her head. "A bond, sacred. We call it Nath'Zora. It means the one who restores life becomes part of it. A Rinathi warrior must protect them, obey them lest death takes her first." He blinked. "Wait, so you're saying you're like bound to me now?" She looked away. "Yes," he burst out laughing. She frowned. "What's so funny?" I didn't even mean to. I was trying to stop someone from bleeding to death, not adopt a battle sister." "It's not adoption," she muttered. Okay, he said, calming down. "So now you're stuck with me." She stood slowly. "I do not stick to humans, but until I repay this debt, I will protect you," he grinned. Sounds like a fair deal. Kara started to return inside but paused. You could have run, she said. You could have left me in the mud. Why didn't you? Eli looked at the fire, then up at the sky, then back at her. Because no one helped me when I was broken once. I promised. If I ever saw someone like that again, I wouldn't look away. Kara felt something she didn't recognize. It wasn't weakness, it was warmth, but she didn't know how to deal with it. So she turned and walked back into the bunker, leaving him alone with the fire. As she lay down again, something inside her shifted. For the first time in her life, the edge of her warrior's heart dulled. She didn't know if that was good or bad. All she knew was she had never felt safer than in that broken bunker beside a soft, strange human named Eli, in sleep. Came easier than it ever had. Kara woke to the smell of burnt metal and frying oil. The sky had cleared, showing a pale violet dawn over the battered plains. She sat up slowly, each breath a reminder of Eli's skill with those bandages. He was already awake, fiddling with a damaged panel on the side of his scout ship. She watched him work, silent and steady. Like a calm storm. I found some parts in the wreck, Eli said, without looking up. We can patch the engine enough to move. He handed her a dented circuit board and a coil of wiring. Kara turned the board over in her hands. It looked delicate, nothing like her heavy blades or plated armor. She frowned, then met his eyes and nodded. She would learn. They spent the morning scavenging the crash site. Kara used her strength to lift twisted metal, clear rubble, and haul debris. Eli guided her gently, showing where each piece fitted. When a spring snapped under her massive fingers, she almost growled in frustration. Eli placed a hand on her arm and said, "Try it like this." She followed his instructions and felt sparks of pride when the mechanism clicked as they worked. Kara found herself talking. She told him about the deserts of her homeworld, the endless dunes where she trained until her legs bled. She told him about battles where she fought 10 at once and won. Eli listened quietly, nodding with respect. Then he told her about earths of green forests and blue oceans he had never seen. He spoke of family dinners and laughter in warm kitchens. Kara realized she had never known such softness. At noon, they paused for a break. Eli poured water from a canteen and offered it to her. She took it and drank deeply, the cool liquid soothing her throat. She looked at him and saw kindness there, pure and steady. She remembered Nath'Zora, the bond law of her people, and felt its pull tighten. The debt she owed him was more than chains. It felt like a new purpose. Eli wiped his brow and said, "I think we can start the engine by dusk." Kara sat back and watched the twisted hull. The craft looked hopeless, but somehow they had pieced it back to life. She felt a surge of hope, something she had not felt since she was a child. She turned to him and asked, "Have you ever seen a Rinnethi temple?" He shook his head. "Only in Holovids." She smiled at that this human knew so little of. Her world, yet cared so much. By late afternoon, the engine coughed to life. Smoke billowed, then cleared. The hull rumbled with fresh power. Eli slapped the side in triumph. Kara let out a low roar of satisfaction. They exchanged a grin warrior and healer, two souls bound by fate. Then the cum unit crackled. A voice shouted in broken Rinnethi, "This is merchant ship Vespera. We are under attack by raiders. Please advise." Kara's eyes narrowed. Raiders meant death. Merchants meant civilians. On Zephyra, neither lived long against raiders. Eli twisted knobs and repeated the call in Galactic Common. The distress beacon blinked red. Eli said, "We can help them. There are only 10 clicks." North Kara stared at him. The broken bunker, the storm. Her new strength all whispered to flee. But her bond would not allow it. She stood, her height towering. "We go," she said. They climbed into the cockpit. I fired up the thrusters. The craft lurched forward, kicking up dust. Kara leaned forward, taking in the movement with new eyes. She still felt the memories of war, but now she fought for something else, for mercy, for protection, for this human who saved her. As they rose, Kara scanned the horizon. In the distance, she saw a small freighter under fire blasts of plasma ripping through metal. She focused on the attackers, a squad of bandits in faded black armor, closing fast. Eli swerved to evade a volley, glanced at her and shouted, "You ready?" Kara gripped the console. Her heart pounded. She remembered the law of Nath'Zora, her duty, her oath. "I am," she growled. They dove toward the firefight. The wind whipped past as they aimed their weapons. For the first time, Kara fought not as the lone warrior of legend, but as part of a team. Her movements were precise. She covered Eli's ship while he delivered surgical strikes. Bandits faltered, then broke apart under their combined assault just as victory neared. A massive shape darkened the sky, a sleek warship bearing the symbol of the Rhinathi Empire. Its cannons powered up, targeting the small freighter, and then them. Kara froze. The bond she felt surged with conflict. Protect the innocent, or obey her bloodline? She glanced at Eli, whose face was set in determination. He fired again, hitting the freighter's hull to drive off the last raider. The Rhinathi warship's voice boomed in her native tongue. "Return to us at once, Kara. Your service is required." Shock and fury warred inside her. You gripped the controls and looked at Eli. She did not know if she could face her own kind in battle, yet she would stand with this human. She had to. Her next move would define her new path. As the warship's cannons gleamed, Kara set her jaw and whispered, "Stay behind me." The cockpit lights flickered under the Rhinathi warship's looming shadow. Kara braced herself for the choice that would shape both their futures. Kara felt the thrum of the warship's engines overhead long before she saw its massive hull blot out the sky. Her chest tightened with conflict. Behind her, Eli wrestled the controls to keep the freighter on course. The small ship shuddered under each blast from the Rhinathi cannon. Alarms blared. Lights blinked red. But Kara did not hesitate. She vaulted. Over the console, each movement precise despite the pain in her ribs. Her clawed hands found grips on the railing as she climbed onto the freighter's dorsal turret. Below, frightened merchant crew scrambled for cover. Kara braced herself. Against the wind, raised her arm, and squeezed the trigger. Blue plasma lanced forth, striking the warship's lower hull. Sparks flew, metal groaned. The giant ship recoiled, but it did not fall. From the cockpit, Eli called out, "Kara, we can't hold much longer." His voice was steady, but urgent. She glanced down and saw the freighter's engines sputtering under enemy fire. She aimed again, targeting a cluster of thrusters. The shot rocked the warship, and one side panel twisted inward. "Good shot," Eli praised. "Now pull back, brace for boarding." Kara hesitated only a moment. Her heart thundered not with fear, but with choice. The Rhinathi Empire had summoned her, demanded her return. Her people would welcome her as a hero, or punish her as a traitor. Yet here, under this battered sky, she felt loyalty to a human who had saved her life. She executed a hard left, pulling the freighter in front of the larger ship's broadside cannons. Plasma bolts screamed past, shredding the hull beside her. Heat washed over her, but she held firm. She felt the bond of Nath'Zora tighten like iron. This human had given her mercy. She would return it in full. Eli's face appeared in the viewport. They're launching fighters. High above, a swarm of sleek attack craft dove toward them. Kara growled, activated the turret scatterguns, and unleashed a storm of explosive rounds. 2 fighters spiraled out of formation and exploded in midair. The rest retreated momentarily. Inside the cockpit, Eli punched coordinates into the nav panel. "Get ready to jettison the pod," he said. "We'll shepherd them out, then deal with these intruders." Kara nodded, though he could not see her. She fired again at the warship, drawing its main guns away from the freighter. Then, with a roar, she leaped from the turret onto the freighter's roof, gripping a rail. She saw the pod bay doors below, swinging open. The terrified crew hurried inside. One blast grazed her arm, scorching her armor. Pain flared, but she ignored it. She sprinted toward the cockpit hatch, plasma still crackling around her. The last merchant climbed into the pod. The door slid shut. The pod launched, a small flame trailing against the violet sky. Kara sprinted back to cover the freighter's escape. Eli's voice crackled. Pod is away. Now it's just us and them. The Rinnethi warship's cannons converged on the freighter's aft section. Kara unlimbered a heavy railgun from its mount. She braced against the recoil and fired. The shot punched through the big ship's forward shield array. The whole vessel shuddered. Alarm klaxons wailed across the battlefield.
How the warship veered.
Off, away from the freighter, to engage Kara directly. Smaller guns swiveled, tracking her position. Kara dropped the railgun and stood defiantly in the open. She knew this might be her last stand. The thunder of the warship's cannons filled the air. She closed her eyes, remembering Eli's kindness, how he had cleaned her blood. How he believed she could be more than a weapon. When she opened her eyes, calm had settled over her. She locked her jaws and roared a single battle cry that echoed across the plains. The warship paused, then fired. Plasma bolts slammed into her shield. Sparks rained. Metal groaned under the onslaught. Did not flinch. She charged forward, racing along the freighter's hull to a secondary turret. Inside, the weapons officer cowered. Kara grabbed both his shoulders, shoved him aside, laid hands on the turret's controls. Stand down, she commanded in firm Rinnethi. I will not bow to you. Her voice boomed. The warship's gunners hesitated. Then, through the "Come," her former commander's voice barked. Return to us, Kara. You are dismissed from all duty. Surrender now. Kara cut the line. She flipped a switch, powering the turret's shields. She aimed at the warship's main cannon. Plasma flared, striking the giant weapon's power core. It overloaded in a blinding flash. The warship shuddered violently and drifted off course, its shields flickering out. Kara watched as it limped away into the sky. The freighter's alarms fell silent. Eli unstrapped himself and rushed out. He called her name, breathless with relief. Kara dropped to her knees, her body shaking from adrenaline and pain. He knelt beside her, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. You saved them, he said softly. You saved us. She closed her eyes, the aftershock of battle washing through her. A single tear traced down her cheek. For the first time, she smiled fully and without restraint. Eli smiled back, his eyes warm. He pressed a bandage into her hand. Come on, he said. Let's get you healed again. Shh. Kara took his hand and let him help her up. She stood, tall beside him, no longer just a warrior of legend, but a guardian of mercy, as they limped toward the bunker. The battered freighter rising behind them, Kara knew her path had changed forever. She would never return to the Rinnethi Empire. She belonged here with this gentle human who saw her not as a weapon, but as a friend. And her next choice would define the rest of their lives. The moon rose pale over the broken canyon where Kara and Eli had hidden the freighter. They had spent the day repairing the lower thrusters and scavenging food from an old outpost. Now the wind was cold, whispering through the stone arches. Kara sat beside the fire, her armor set aside. Eli handed her a cup of hot broth, and she drank gratefully, tasting warmth she had never known. I thought warriors did not eat soup, she said, surprising herself with a soft laugh. Eli shrugged, settling on a crate. We eat what keeps us alive, he replied, watching the flames dance. Besides, you earned it today. She looked at him, curious. He meant the fight in space. But she thought of another battle, her own heart. Learning trust. She set the cup down and studied the stars. Silence stretched between them, comfortable and new. Suddenly the ground trembled. Dust fell from the canyon walls. Kara's sharp ears caught a distant hum metal engines, heavy and relentless. She leapt to her feet, every muscle coiled. They found us, she said, voice low. Eli grabbed his blaster. More Rinnethi ships? Kara spat on the ground. Worse, a hunter. She moved toward the ship's ramp. They send specialists. When you disgrace the Empire, he followed, heart pounding. The freighter's lights flickered as she powered up shields. Outside, two sleek fighters swooped low between the cliffs. Their engines echoed like beasts on the hunt. A third craft, larger and darker, hovered above its hull, burned black, marked with crimson sigils. Kara knelt by the panel and keyed to override. The ramp hissed closed. Sparks flew as the doors sealed. Inside, they heard the fighters' cannons. Fire. Kara charged to the turret and swung into position. Eli slid beside her, scanning the scope. The first fighter dove straight at them. Kara squeezed the trigger. A burst of plasma shredded its wing. The craft spun away, trailing smoke. Eli exhaled. Nice shot. But the larger ship released a drone pod. Dozens of tiny spheres dropped like raindrops, each one closing fast. Kara reached out and crushed one against the turret's railing. It hissed and flickered out, but more fell, buzzing like angry insects. She growled and leaped down to the deck. We need to get out of here, she said, charging toward the cockpit. Eli followed. Inside, the freighter shuddered as drones exploded against the hull. Warning klaxons blared. Eli gripped the controls. We can't lift off yet. Too many drones in the way. Kara tore open a storage locker. She pulled out 2 gravity grenades. She handed one to Eli. Aim for the cluster. He nodded and rushed back to the turret. Kara primed her grenade and took position at the doorway. Fighters dipped around the canyon mouth, waiting. She closed her eyes, remembered how Eli had trusted her strength. She pulled the pin and flung the grenade into the pack of drones. It exploded in a silent flash, sending metal shards and sparks everywhere. A shockwave rattled the ship, the shields. Held! From the window, Eli cheered. He tossed his grenade too. The last drones fell lifeless. The fighters banked away, but the Dark Hunter remained, its cannons charging slowly. Eli jumped into the cockpit. Now, he shouted. He punched the thrusters. The freighter lifted, engines roaring. Kara strapped herself to a rail as the ship shot upward, dodging plasma bolts. The Hunter fired a beam that sliced through the canyon wall. Rock and dust rained down, but Kara stayed focused. She reached for the companel and sent a single word in Rhinathi. Run. Eli repeated it to the engines. Climb as fast as you can. They broke free of the canyon just as the Hunter's beam cut through the narrow entrance. Flames licked the rocks, then faded behind them. Stars wheeled overhead. The freighter gained speed, shields shimmering under fire. Kara gripped the console, every sense alive, heart pounding not with fear, but with purpose. When they leveled out, Eli turned to her. That was close. Kara exhaled, fighting the adrenaline. Too close. She scanned the view screen. In the distance, the Hunter drifted, its weapons glowing again. He would not give up. He set a course toward an abandoned station beyond the asteroid belt. We can lose them in the debris field. She nodded. Good. She hesitated, then added, Thank you. Eli looked surprised. For saving you again? Kara shook her head. For trusting me when no one else would. His eyes softened. He reached out and placed a hand on her armored shoulder. She stiffened, then relaxed under his touch. In that moment, she understood what he saw. Not a weapon, but a friend. As they prepared to jump into the belt, the freighter's come crackled. A familiar voice spoke in galactic common, urgent and breathless. Eli, this is Captain Maris of the Silver Dawn. We read your beacon. Rendezvous coordinates coming through now. Eli's face brightened. Help is here. Kara glanced at him, then at the stars ahead. Allies at last. But she knew the Empire would not stop hunting her. She turned back to the viewport, fierce and determined. She would protect these people, this human, and earn her place beside them. No chain of law could bind her stronger than her will. As the freighter slipped into hyperspace, Kara sat beside Eli again, as the Hunter might pursue, but for now, they had a moment of peace. She peered at the curve of the next star, her heart steady. The path ahead was dangerous. She would not walk it alone. Asterisk, the Silver Dawn's glow filled the freighter's bay as Kara stepped onto its polished deck. The humans here moved with purpose, their faces a mix of relief and wariness. Kara felt their eyes on her armored frame, her cat-like pupils, the faint scar that ran down her cheek. She pressed her clawed hand against the cold metal, reminding herself she was no longer alone. Eli led her past a row of cargo crates. They'll welcome you, he said quietly. Captain Maris insisted. His voice held pride in Kara and in the choice he had made, at the far end. A tall woman in crisp uniform stepped forward. Her dark hair was pulled back and her stance was firm. I'm Captain Maris, she said, extending a hand. Kara paused, then took it. The human grip was strong and steady. Welcome aboard. The crew gathered, murmuring among themselves. Some bowed their heads in respect. Others stared in awe. Kara inclined her head once, a warrior's salute, and felt the air shift. The humans here accepted her not as an alien weapon, but as an ally. A horn blared suddenly. Red lights pulsed on the bridge. Kara and Eli raced toward the sound. On the screen, 3 small shapes swung around the Silver Dawn fast attack craft marked with the Rinnethi crest. They were scouts, chasing beyond the asteroid belt. The Empire had sent hunters to reclaim their warrior. Prepare for battle, Captain Maris ordered. All hands to stations. Kara felt her heart pound. She was not used to fighting beside so many. But Eli gave her a glance that said, "You can do this." She strode to a weapons console, fingers dancing over controls. The bridge doors slid. Shut behind her, the first attack craft swooped low, firing plasma bolts. The Dawn's shields flared and held. Eli manned one of the turrets beside her, firing back. Kara studied the tactics, how the humans moved, how they aimed. She slotted into position, targeting a craft as it banked away. She held her breath and released a powerful burst. The enemy spin-rolled and crashed against an asteroid. Behind her, Eli cheered. Nice shot. She nodded, heart racing with something new, confidence in a team. The second craft tried to flank them, but Kara reacted on instinct. She twisted, planting her feet, and sent a shot that tore through its engine. It flamed out and tumbled into space. Only one attacker remained. Its pilot was skilled, matching the Dawn's maneuvers blow for blow. Kara tapped the targeting system. "Let me," she said softly. Eli stepped aside. Kara guided the crosshairs, remembering how he trusted her strength. She fired a precise bolt that struck the pilot's cockpit, disabling the craft's targeting array. Enemy fire went wide. With a final flare, the Rinnethi fighter drifted off, badly damaged. Silence fell on the bridge. The crew stared at Kara as the last attacker retreated. Then Maris exhaled, her relief clear. "Outstanding work, Kara." Kara pressed her hand to her chest, feeling the bond of Nath'Zora tighten. She had protected these humans, her new family. After repairs, Eli found her in the crew mess. He handed her a mug of warm tea. "You did great," he said. "You fit in here just fine." She blew on the tea and sipped. The warmth spread through her. "I have never known teamwork like this," she admitted. "On Zefra, I served alone." He shook his head. "There's strength in unity." She studied his face. She remembered the day he saved her. The day her fierce heart learned trust. "Thank you," she whispered, meaning more than the words could hold. That night, the dawn slipped through the asteroid belt. Kara stood at the viewport, watching the stars blur. Eli joined her, slipping an arm around her shoulders. She leaned into him, the first contact she had welcomed since her bond formed. He did not move away. They spoke softly of next steps. The Empire would not give up. They would hunt Kara across the galaxies. But now she had allies, a ship full of humans who saw her as a friend. She vowed to protect them, to stand beside Eli, no matter the cost, before sleep claimed her. Kara touched a small pendant at her throat, a gift Eli had given her. It was shaped like a soaring bird. He said it symbolized freedom. She pressed it against her skin and closed her eyes, carrying hope into the coming battles. By dawn, the Dawn's crew was ready. Kara strapped herself into the flight harness beside Eli in the small escort fighter. As the bay doors opened to the void, she inhaled deeply. The wind of space filled her senses. This time, she faced the Empire not alone, but with a squadron. Behind her, she glanced at Eli, his eyes bright with trust. She nodded. They would fight for a new path, one where mercy and strength walked side by side. And Kara's roar filled the quiet cockpit, promise that she would never falter again. Asterisk, the morning light filtered through the Dawn's cockpit glass as Kara settled into the pilot's seat. Her claws tapped the console with quiet purpose. Across from her, Eli checked the nav readouts, his brow furrowed. Today would decide everything. Behind them, the main ship carried freight and refugees, people they had saved from raiders and war. Kara felt their eyes on her, trusting her to keep them safe. Her ribs still ached from past battles, but pain had become her ally. It reminded her she was alive. Eli punched in new coordinates. We're almost at the rendezvous point. He said, "The Empire's flagship should be here soon." Kara drew a steady breath. Since the canyon fight and the asteroid ambush, they had won allies across 3 systems. But the Empire would not accept her defection quietly. They sent their mightiest vessel to bring Kara home, more punish her for betrayal. The Dawn slipped into orbit around the neutral trading hub of Aurora Station. Below, spired towers glinted in morning sun. Trade ships curved in and out of docking bays. Merchants greeted new arrivals with bright banners. It should have felt like safety, but Kara saw danger in every sky car and gun turret. Then the sensors pinged. A massive warship, gleaming white and gold with the Rinathy crest, emerged from hyperspace. It dwarfed Aurora itself. The flagships. Cannons opened fire on the station's shields, forcing evacuation protocols. Civilians poured into escape pods. Kara slammed her fist on the console. "They'll destroy the whole station if we don't act." Eli nodded. "We need a block." Their fire gave the station time to flee. She engaged the thrusters and swung the Dawn between the warship and the station. Her ship's shields flared under the enemy's first volley. Plasma screamed past, carving scars into the hull. Kara pressed the helm forward, ramming the Dawn's front edge into the flagship's shield bubble. The shockwave knocked sensors offline for a moment. In the silence, Kara saw the smaller escort fighters she had trained rising from the station's hangars. Humans, aliens, even a few reformed. Mercenaries. They formed a V-shape behind the Dawn, ready to protect Aurora. Kara's heart tightened. This was what mercy looked like. Those who had once fled now stood to fight. The flagship's commander addressed her through cum. His voice was cold, proud. "Return, Kara, to the Empire. Your loyalty is required." Kara stared up at the massive hull. She remembered her old life. Endless wars, blood debts, honor codes. She felt the pull of home, of people who had raised her. But she heard another voice, Silly's gentle command when she doubted herself. The merchant's grateful tear after rescue, the station's children cheering our hero. She keyed her mic. "I refuse." Her voice echoed through every channel. "I choose peace. I choose these people." A volley of plasma cut across the sky. Kara dove the Dawn beneath the flagship's hull, weaving through blinking searchlights. The escort fighters poured fire into the flagship's engines, drawing its weapons away from the station. The station's shields flickered, then held. Escape pods launched safely. From the flagship's bridge, alarms screamed. The commander snarled orders, but his ships could not match the Dawn's speed or the escort fighters' passion. Kara led a charge into the flagship's hull, breaching an airlock left open in the chaos. Inside, the cold corridors, she strode forward, blades drawn. A squad of Rinathy officers blocked her path, but the escort fighters flanked them, forcing them back. Kara pressed on alone. Each step echoed with her footsteps, steady and deliberate. At the bridge door she paused. Behind it, her old commander waited with a squad. He stepped forward, eyes hard. "Kara," he said, voice torn between anger and relief. "Return with us. Your duty calls." Kara raised her chin. "My duty is to life, not death," he sneered. "You dishonor our bloodline." She closed her eyes for a heartbeat, then opened them with fierce calm. "I honor every life I save." She lunged, but instead of striking him, she held her blade to the deck and kicked it, burying it in the floor. Her claw hovered at his throat. He froze, guards lowered there. Weapons, uncertain. "See this blade?" she said softly. "It ended wars. Today, it ends nothing." She withdrew it slowly and withdrew the blade entirely. I will not kill you. I will not kill anyone who desires peace. Silence followed. Then the squad lowered their weapons. Her commander stared, betrayed by his own belief. At last, he bowed his head. May the stars judge you kindly, Kara. She stepped back. He let her leave. Outside, the escort fighters cheered. The station's dwellers applauded, and the Dawn's engines roared in triumph. She boarded her ship beside Eli, who took her hand without words, back in orbit. The flagship drifted, its hull scarred but intact. The commander's ship broke away into the void, leaving Aurora and the Dawn behind. On the Dawn's bridge, Kara watched the planet's sunrise, warm oranges and violets painting the sky. She turned to Eli. Her heart felt full. He smiled. You did it. She nodded. We did it together. Eli pulled her into a firm embrace. The station glowed below, reborn. Refugees streamed back to rebuild.
Ow.
Traders returned to their stalls. Peace thrummed in the air. Kara knew her future lay here with humans and with her new family. The Empire might hunt her, but she would stand unbowed. She had chosen a path of mercy and unity. She had ended her life as a weapon and begun. As a guardian, as the Dawn powered its engines for the journey home, Kara gazed at the horizon. A gentle warmth filled her chest. She was no longer alone. She was part of something greater, a new world where strength walked hand in hand with kindness. And so her story ended not with bloodshed but with hope.